Welcome back to the PCC podcast. And today I'm going to be doing a short but punchy and educational episode for you guys on supplements, everyone's favorite topic. I get so many questions about supplements, and I think it's important that we hit this probably on like an annual basis of, okay, what does the research actually say? What have I found to be beneficial for clients over the past 10 something years? And how do we discern what is a good quality supplement versus bullshit? Because unfortunately, the supplement industry is not very well regulated. There's no better way to put it, but the FDA does not regulate the supplement industry the way that you would hope. And so we want to make sure that we are working with or purchasing from brands that are very reputable. So today I'm going to tell you guys what is my take on the supplements that you should take for overall health and fat loss, and then what should you actually look for when it comes to reading labels. So my take on supplements is very, very simple. I believe that 99.9% of people should be taking a high quality multivitamin, a fish oil with high EPA and DHA omega-3 fatty acid content, probably vitamin D. However, watch your levels and make sure you don't go too high. And then I have some optionals that personally I really have leaned on over the past couple of years, especially for our high stress capacity people. But those three are the top three things that 99.9% of people should take. Outside of that, everything is optional and depends. Okay, so spoiler alert, that's it. That's what you need to know. And everything else is fluff outside of your specific situation and getting custom recommendations for that. So let's talk about these three first. Why a multivitamin? For some of you, this might be a no-brainer. Maybe you grew up taking a multivitamin. I know I grew up being force-fed the Flintstone vitamins, and I hated them. I thought that they tasted terrible. And then eventually graduated to some kind of gummy multivitamin because it was much more tolerable. And over the years, once I got into health and wellness, then started taking a fish oil and vitamin D. And to this day, those three things are still in my repertoire. Okay. A multivitamin, because it is a insurance policy. So there has been kind of visuals and calculations done to look at, okay, what are the recommended daily values of each vitamin and mineral that we need as human beings? And if we eat a completely whole food diet, completely diversified every single day, even if we are so perfect with our diet that everything is lined up and planned to hit our micronutrient needs, vitamins and minerals, then we are still not going to hit the recommended daily value of everything that we need. And so the reality is no one's diet actually looks like that I know, at least, and mine doesn't. It is not perfect, right? There are gaps. And so if the most perfect diet still can't hit the recommended daily value, why would I expect mine to? So I'm going to take a multivitamin every day as an insurance policy to make sure that I get enough of everything, and then I can supplement additional things if I need to, right? So a good multivitamin there is going to do that. And then a fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA fatty acids. These are the key components to a fish oil that actually matter. Not enough people talk about it. So if you are looking at your Kirkland fish oil and you take it and you get burps that taste like fish, please stop. Because if you look at the back of the label for a lot of these like really cheap store brand fish oils, you are going to notice that it'll have maybe EPA and DHA listed separately. Not always. Sometimes it's a blend that says it has EPA and DHA fatty acids in it. But if it is listed separately, if it has maybe a total of 300 to 400 milligrams of those particular fatty acids, that is not enough. And so the rest of the fish oil capsule is a bunch of filler, which is what is giving you fish burps. So you are going to want to look for fish oil that has a high EPA and DHA fatty acid content. Specifically for 99.9% of people, 1,000 milligrams of total EPA and DHA fatty acid per day. Now, in situations where people have high triglycerides or lots of inflammation or things like that in their blood work, I will recommend more, and that's not going to hurt. Fish oil is very critical for overall heart health, inflammation, brain health, and it's just so beneficial for so many more things in the body that I'm not even gonna I don't even know everything that I could list out for that, but it's a long list. But if you do have some of the things that I mentioned, more is not going to hurt you whatsoever. The reason why I supplement this rather than trying to get it through food is because in order to get the amount of EPA and DHA fatty acids per day that you would be looking for, you would be looking at having a source of fatty fish at least 4 times per week. So something like a salmon, at least 4 times per week, flax seeds, chia seeds, etc. And I'm just not banking on myself eating that enough because honestly, I don't really have salmon that often unless we're going out for sushi. And I do have chia seeds every day, but it's only a tablespoon. So I just make sure to supplement that every single day. If you are vegetarian, vegan, you can also have the alternative of flaxseed oil. Algae oil also has an equivalent type of omega-3 fatty acid. I believe it's ALA instead of EPA, DHA. So it's a little bit different, but it's going to serve the same purpose if you are vegan, vegetarian. So that's why I would supplement fish oil. Then we have vitamin D. So most people are not ignorant, at least that I've talked to. Most people are not ignorant to the fact that the majority of the United States is very deficient in vitamin D. And vitamin D is a critical vitamin and hormone that can actually influence hormonal health, mental health, bone mineral density, what else? Muscle mass, sexual health, all of these things. And it's so overlooked and we're all deficient and it's so sad. And the problem too is that when you go to get your annual physical, the range that they determine to be normal for vitamin D is like 30 to 100. And 30 is considered functionally deficient. So if you are anything below 50 to 60 on your vitamin D count, I'm not going to even try to pretend like I know the units. It's like IU/milliliters or something like that. If it's anything below 50 to 60, it is most likely that you are slightly erring towards deficiency. So a little bit of supplementation can go a long way. And so with vitamin D, I try to be cautious now because I have told the story on this podcast how I have almost OD'd myself on vitamin D supplementation because I thought mine was low when it wasn't. And I got myself up to 130 for my levels, which was too high. So with that being said, I don't want anyone to abuse this whatsoever. Don't take clinical doses of 10,000 IUs a day unless you have supervision. However, if you are if you have vitamin D levels of 15, there is a time and a place to do 10,000 IUs a day for 30 days and check again, right? And always just make sure that you schedule blood work to check again if you are megadosing anything. With that being said, right, this number one, this is not medical advice. The disclaimer's at the end of the podcast anyways, but I'm just going to say it here again. This is not medical advice and we will not be held liable for any decisions that you make regarding supplementation. Please consult with a healthcare provider or practitioner. With that being said, that's the experience that I have had personally and that we've helped some clients through. For most people, a dose of 2,000 to 5,000 IUs a day is really reasonable and is something that can be really helpful, especially during winter months, to help with all of the things that I mentioned. Okay. And ask for vitamin D on your annual lab draw. They will usually cover it. You can just say oh yeah, I've had low mood during the winter. They'll justify it. It'll get covered by insurance. And that way you can see it on an annual basis where that's at. And then companies like ours at PCC, we can order vitamin D just as a single blood draw for people for $30. So if you work with us, that's a benefit that you have with us. So those are the main supplements and why I would take all of those. Now, there are some optionals that I will say, two or three in particular that I am very, very fond of personally, and that I think most of our high achieving women are very fond of. And then a couple that tend to come up often for the population that we work with. And if you're listening to this, you're probably the population that we work with, women who are stressed the F out. So, with that being said, some optionals that I like are magnesium, ashwagandha, B complexes, NAC or calcium D-glucarate, and milk thistle extract. So let's go through them one at a time. Magnesium, particularly magnesium glycinate. If you get magnesium citrate, this is going to be more used to treat constipation. Now, there's obviously a time and a place for that. If you are constipated, if you have gut issues, this can be a great add, but I'm talking magnesium glycinate for nervous system and stress management. So magnesium and B complex, the two that I mentioned there, are critical nutrients that help to buffer your stress system. So when you are having a stress response, your body is in fight or flight. It is pumping out catecholamines, adrenaline, and things that help you to buffer away stress. Magnesium and magnesium and B vitamins are very used in that process. And so when you're highly stressed for a long period of time, what can happen is you can become deficient in magnesium and B vitamins, right? And so supplementing with that, especially if you're just constantly a high stress person and you just live a high capacity life, this is a great way to make sure that you don't fall deficient to these things. And then your stress response can continue to be robust. And magnesium glycinate, when supplemented, can also help with sleep and sleep quality because of that. As well as the B complex, if you take a methylated B complex, meaning the B vitamins, but in their methylated form, so they're more bioavailable. This can also help with mental focus, cognition, brain fog, and of course, your resilience to stress mentally as well. A lot of B vitamins are getting used in your brain. So those are two that I love. And then the last one that I love that for me specifically is ashwagandha. I have loved this supplement ever since like 2017, 2018. It is a game changer. If you want deeper sleep, more restful sleep, you want more resilient responses to stress, this is a natural adaptogen that helps with your stress response, your cortisol curve, and therefore your sleep and depth of sleep. I am telling you, when I am not taking ashwagandha versus when I am, how I sleep is night and day. And not even like the amount of time, it's the hours, and the quality of those hours is unmatched. So with ashwagandha, you want to take 400 to 600 milligrams of the root extract before bed. And that is going to help with getting you to sleep. And then lastly, the ones that I mentioned, NAC, calcium D-glucarate, and milk thistle. So these are all to help support the liver. So NAC, N-acetylcysteine, calcium D-glucarate, and milk thistle extract. These help to support detoxifying the liver. The liver is your natural detox system. However, because we live in a world full of toxins, plastics and candles and skin products and everything that's in the air, and I'm not even going to get into it. There's a lot. Personally, I'm not super neurotic about those things. Like, I'll still cut some of my food on a plastic cutting board. Sue me. Like, it is okay. But at the end of the day, like, these can be super helpful if you are dealing with things like high PMS symptoms, hormonal acne, irregular cycles. It could be a good first step to see if your liver just needs a little TLC before going into any sort of larger testing like a Dutch test or hormonal protocols. So those are three that I love as well for that I personally used for the earlier half of 2025. So that is supplements. Everything else is bullshit. I'm just kidding. There's a time and a place for everything, but like your green supplements and like all these random fat burners, stop letting Instagram ads run your life. And I promise you, it's targeting the little things that you search and that you pay attention to, that they identify as your weaknesses and your insecurities, and they will prey on them. Okay. And most supplements are really poorly made as well. And so I will include a supplement guide that I've put together that has the appropriate doses and what you should be looking for in these supplements in terms of third-party testing, who the supplement is certified by, and how the label should look, as well as what the what the dose of each of these ingredients that I mentioned should be. Because if we're not meeting all those criteria, then we're just buying a pill with filler in it and paying a premium price because it was marketed well. So, with that being said, I will put that supplement guide in the show notes for you guys. You can download it. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please reach out to me with any questions whatsoever. Happy to answer any questions you guys have. And I'll see you back here in the next episode.